This is a 2013 Can-Am Maverick 1000. This is a buddy's unit. He asked me if I could get it taken care of and all sorted out because he doesn't quite have the time right now. He traded a truck for this that he said he had $2 grand into. And with the distance from where he said he got it from compared to that, I'll say, nah, he's got 60 bucks in fuel in it. This runs and drives. I actually drove this unit in here, but it's got some lack of maintenance issues. One of these knuckles down here is completely broken. He said he rigged it up so it would, be able to drive on the trailer. The front end on here is like a hot dog in a hallway. Everything's worn out. Overall, not too bad of a unit. Just needs some maintenance. Door flew open. Because evidently somebody has been lacking. He did end up meeting the guy who originally built this back in 2015. And this would have been a pretty pricey build back then. I mean, you got this custom grille, full custom front bumper. I mean, that is a beefy front bumper with a winch mount on it. Forward arms, high lifter arched arms, custom powder coated springs, custom brakes, air brakes. And then it's got rear, I'm guessing 1 inch back, maybe 2 inch, I want to call it forward arms, but they're reverse arms, whatever. Really nice Trinity exhaust on here. This thing sounds so nasty. Overall, not too bad of a unit, but we need to go through and figure out what all this thing's gonna actually need as far as the suspension goes, because it needs quite a bit. And something to do with the belt, because the belt, he grenaded it, said it came flying up out of the snorkels, which are no longer on here. And when I drove it in here yesterday, it's definitely slipping. It's supposed to have, he said it has STM clutches in it, which that stuff ain't cheap. That's probably $3,000 worth of clutches right there. 15 for the primary, 1,500 for the secondary. That stuff's just not cheap. And one thing I did not know, this is actually the first Maverick I've ever messed with. This looks just like an Outlander rack. I mean, essentially it is. And this is what the bed is on these. Which, if I'm being honest, that's stupid. I mean, how are you supposed to put anything back there? The Razor definitely has better bed setup. I mean, this is the rack on my Outlander. That's probably literally the same rack. Unless it's the front. Unless it's the front up there, because the front's a little bit smaller. Overall, I don't know if these came with Fox shocks from the factory. Overall, this thing has very good bones. I guarantee you this thing will come out pretty nice. He said the key can be a little bit finicky, but these older ones, that's kind of a thing. A little noisy startup. 1,200 miles. Maintenance required. Yeah, bet. 413 hours. Supposedly when it was built, I believe he said it had 35s on it, which would have been a big tire back in, what's that, 2015? So that's a pretty big tire back then. Nowadays, everybody's running 50s and stuff like that. I mean, I saw a set of, I think they were 54s with a set of custom cut JTX wheels for $12,000 yesterday. And the way it was in that post, I don't know for sure. It sounded like that was supposed to be a pretty good deal. That doesn't sound like a good deal to me because $12,000 in rims and tires is not for me. So far as these are all the parts he already has for it. This right here was on the front of it, full of bad decisions is what it says. But you can't hardly see over it. Between this and the snorkels, you can't see nothing driving that thing. And so we got two brand new, I believe these are OEM knuckles. No, they're Super ATV knuckles. If that is the box to it. We got two ball joints right here, two new OEM ball joints, two seals, which I don't know if those will work out. I don't know what that's for. Got a wheel bearing, doesn't seem to want to fit in that one. That definitely doesn't fit there. And a new front rotor because the front rotor on that front left wheel is grenaded. And two new calipers right here, obviously. The caliper itself is broken. So it broke off where it fit there, and it broke that tab off right there. I I mean, it's common with a mud machine to be like that, but. And then he had bought a rack and pinion kit, but Amazon said that was a Maverick kit. And as we were looking at it when he was dropping it off last night, that kit was for a Razor 1000 Pro XP, which ain't gonna fit this. Now I need to get this thing moved to over there because right here is a really inconvenient spot for it to be. Especially if I have something else need to come in or go out. Once I take it apart, these rollers suck, but they're only 20 bucks. Come back a little bit. And we're rolling in the wrong direction. This thing's huge. Like, it doesn't seem that big until you're trying to move it. Or maybe everything I've been moving has been small. As I'm doing it, these wheels are all like side to side in it. Not gonna lie, this thing makes my shop feel small. It's too big for my jack to lift it, so I gotta use my wood blocks. A little sketchy, not a big deal. Alrighty. He said this thing was sketchy at 60. Real sketchy. And judging by, like, I'm on one side right now. That other side over there ain't moving at all. That's not good. Let's see. He did say he had to put that axle on just to even get this thing on the trailer. And it had some bigger 35s on it. So that wheel bearing is shot. Whoever did this axle over here, they made the nut permanent, so we're gonna definitely need an axle on this side. We got some play right there in that upper ball joint. Now we need to see if this is gonna be rebuildable or if we need the whole rack. Let's hold that one up there. Zip tie. There we go. And luckily I checked because it's definitely the whole rack. It's a lot of suspension work. All right, now we're on the other side. Let's see how bad this one is. Man, that one don't want to turn very well. Oh, it's the limited slip, whatever. Now that is a concern of mine right there, is this ball joint being loose in that, not ball joint, the tie rod end being loose in the knuckle. So I want to look at that and make sure. Is it loose or is it something wrong? This side overall isn't so bad, but right there is a little out around. We'll have to see if he wants to replace it or not. Got a little bit of play in there, right there. You can kind of see it. I think that knuckle should be replaced. We'll have to see what he wants to do. Now, upper ball joint has a little bit of play on this. I know he said he wants to be able to go fast. There are no seals over here, but if we're gonna be replacing the knuckle, we're replacing the knuckle. Lower ball joint shot. Now we're gonna come over here to the rear end. Let's see. Check out this back left, back right. Looks like this upper hem joint for sure. And since we already got knuckles, we're already gonna be doing new wheel bearings. The axle has a tear in the boot up here. I guess they removed the sway bar for the mud lift and everything. Those rear pads don't look too terrible. I need to get me a lift. I'll be doing more stuff like this. There we go. Going over here. Now this one, this knuckle is broken for sure. So this one moves around quite a bit because it's broke. We 100% have to have the knuckle over here. You can see it right there. Two-piece knuckle design. Fancy. It's made for uneven stability. Rear rotors ain't the best. Upper hem joint. Now we're gonna pop all this off. Take a look at these clutches. See if we can tell what's going on here. I did have a clutch snorkel coming up through the back here, so that's kind of a thing we gotta resolve. Been assembled with a few self-tapper roofing screws. Hey, whatever works, right? He said this thing was all jacked up when he got it. None of the plastics were staying still. There we go. Is that gonna come out? I'm not gonna replace a single one of these with the same one that was in it. It's cheaper these push pins are. I reused, I put new ones in. Too much, once they get all bent up, it's easier just to replace them. The winch works. He wasn't sure if it worked. Yesterday, we kind of messed with it a little bit. Got it all squared away that it does definitely work. Go up there. Stay there. From driving this thing, I'll tell you what, this is definitely nice to ride. And I didn't even drive it very much. Might have me sold on getting a Maverick. But this, taking this much apart just to get to the clutches, it's ridiculous. Totally ridiculous. Right there. Has issues with getting it into the gear right too. What is all that? Oh, deteriorated foam. Still gotta keep going. I will stick to my statement. If you want something easy to work on, Polaris is where it's at. When it comes to big power, at least. If you care more about fit and finish, you're gonna pay somebody else to work on it. These Can-Ams, they're pretty good. I wonder how hot this engine bay gets compared to like a Razor. Still gotta take apart more stuff. Golly. Glad it's all push pins though. There's so many of them. I have the seats. We pulled them out yesterday. I just didn't see any point whatsoever to put them back on. So basically, if you blow your clutch out on the trail, you better bring your entire toolbox, because you're definitely gonna need it. Maybe I'm just being dramatic. And that comes out. And there's the clutches. We definitely gonna need the OEM clutch ducts, because like I said, these would have ducted up, but now that's what we got. I'll pop this cover off real quick and see if we see any issues. There goes something. Clearly missing that plug too. There's not a bunch of clutch material in there. Guess the only thing there is to do, fire it up. Let's see. That belt was definitely slipping. Huh. Everything looks like it's working fine there. Maybe I was wrong and this belt just needs some break-in time. All those rollers look good. These clutches look beautiful. We'll come back to that one. I just want to make sure that we get all the parts ordered. I need to be able to ride this thing around. Maybe that does just need some break-in time. He said he hasn't really rode it, so maybe that belt just needs broke in, because it was slipping real bad. Maybe that's something to do with aftermarket clutches. I have zero experience with clutches like these. They're definitely cool because they're all billet. But we got an oil leak back here. Looks like it's coming from the valve cover gasket. I end up having to replace that one. And we need to get this shock replaced. Shocking. So we'll get some parts ordered and we'll get this wrapped up. All right, we're back. We got some parts for the Maverick. And so some of the stuff he had, some of the stuff we had to buy. And then there's a handful of things he didn't want to do, although I don't remember what that was now. We got a new seat base. These are actually really cheap to buy, and it feels like a nice quality seat, because the seat that's on this, although that's not purple, the seat that's on this is jacked up. And that right there is for the driver's side. So it'll be a little more comfortable to ride. I don't think he wants the purple seats anyways. We got a Super ATV heavy duty rack and pinion. This came with ball joint ends. And this thing was cheap too. I got a great deal on it because it was open box and it was dirty, like that right there. That part right there that you can't see, you know? So that's a win in my book. I can't remember what it was, but I want to say it was like $150. And then to get a regular one from Super ATV was in the $300 some odd range. Got a used knuckle, front right knuckle. The Bouchon CVT, I don't know what Bouchon means, but this is the, I was up underneath there looking for something, and the little nipple that comes off the clutch cover is missing this. So, new steering wheel shocks from Caltrick. That'll keep the steering wheel from wanting to jump all around. New OEM oil filter. The air filter on it looked brand new, so, you know, we ain't gonna replace that. These two rear bushings, these were for the upper end of the knuckle. Maybe trailing arm, I forget what it's called. I was surprised that like you really can't, there's no good cheaper options for these. Got two new lower ball joints for the front end. This is a ball joint tool, I bought that. That is not at his expense. And we've got two new clutch ducts because his was snorkeled. And a new front axle because if you remember at the beginning of the video, that front axle, I'm gonna have to cut it off. If you look at those wheels, they're like this. That's how bad they are. This whole thing's probably shaking. Dang! I feel like I'm forgetting something. I probably am. I still have to go get oil to change the oil on it. And he had upper ball joints, so we're replacing those. He had this front rotor right here, which is for this side, and 2 new front calipers. Should get the job done. We're gonna have to spend some time bleeding the brakes. Should be no big deal. So I'm gonna start on the front end, because honestly, this is where the majority of the work is. There's also a set of rear bearings. They're in the freezer right now. Not rear bearings, it's all the bearings. The entire unit's getting new bearings. But this back here, it's really just pop these axles out and change that boot. Not pop the axles, these knuckles out. Change that boot right there. And we'll be good to go. A little bit of a general TLC around the quad, around the side-by-side, whatever you want to call it. Really wondering where them ducts go. I hope that's not like I have to take the front plastic off to get to. That stuff's gonna be last. Today, we want to get that stuff on, get it driving, and take it for a drive and see if we can check out what's going on with the clutches and go from there. it's raining, but we're gonna take this thing out for a rip anyways. If I can remember how to start it. All right, so after taking this out for a spin yesterday, come and find it definitely could use power steering with these big tires on here. I think these are 32s. He said it was way worse with 35s. Anyway, we definitely have a clutch issue, but I don't have the equipment to tear down that's got STM aftermarket clutches. They're about $1,300 a piece or so, give or take, and very, very customizable. But the one-way bearing in the clutch is messed up. Well, one-way or two-way. I don't know which one this one has. I got all that put back together yesterday. He wants to hold off on that. We're gonna kind of do a phase 2 of this, considering one of the other things I found is it needs a rear differential.
Damn it, this is such a tight fit.
Or at least the rear diff rebuilt, which is a bummer. I mean, overall, do I think it's a bad unit? No. I think this was neglected. But here we are, too deep to quit, maybe. That's his call, not mine. Anyway, but I got the clutch ducts and everything put back on, and these are fun to assemble because since this was snorkeled, these kind of like came up, and I don't know exactly where they came out at because he had removed them, but I'm guessing somewhere back here or maybe over here, I don't know. But I got the snorkels put on. These are the factory snorkels. They just go up to right there, which is kind of a weird spot. And I'd use a zip tie. It's like we're missing a piece here that needs to be there for this. I don't know. I'll probably have to look into that. And then I did find a 10mm wrench holding something. You see that? That's zip tied to something to hold it in place. And it's holding on to what looks like the exhaust nut. I don't know why that would be like that. I don't know. People do some weird shit. That's the best way to put it. People do weird stuff. I had to go through the front end a little bit just to get everything back on par. I didn't have the steering wheel straight or even remotely close, and it was pulling. I went through and redid it again yesterday. I don't know where I screwed up a few days ago, but should be good. About to take this thing for a test drive. Then we should just be lacking in changing the oil, washing it, and changing the oil, washing it, and putting these plastics back in, because it ain't doing nothing but raining here right now, and this thing's getting covered in dirt. These tires stick out just enough to make sure that everything gets a nice coating. It's supposed to rain here until the end of the day, Saturday, and today is Friday. We got tornado warnings and stuff. This one shouldn't be too bad, which, like I said, just got to change the oil and put everything back together. Make sure this front end's good. So I'm gonna take this thing out for another rip, and I'll try to record it. It's so hard because the steering isn't one arm friendly, and all right, oil's changed. We're good to go in that department. We got a little bit of some oil leaks over here. It all got, since I sprayed all this down, get all that clean, you can't really tell as much as it was, but you can on this side. That back valve cover's leaking. I think this is leaking right there from the seal on the cam chain tensioner. Overall, and we just need to get all these plastics put back on, get everything mounted back up, get that put back in, and wash it. These really are built a lot different than what I'm used to messing with, like the Polaris and stuff. It's the only thing I've ever had that I've ever even worked on that you have to take stuff apart just to be able to change the oil. which in my opinion's ignorant. Should not have to take stuff apart to change the oil. I don't reuse those pens either. I just put all new ones in. As cheap as they are, I buy these big packs. Just replace them. And then everything fits together much tighter. He had self-tappers holding a bunch of this together because he said when he bought it that the plastics were flopping around all over the place. So we're going to continue to use them. It is what it is. Honestly, since he used black ones, they don't look half bad. Some of these over here are silver, but as far as the rest of it goes, they're all black. Can-Am evidently uses like a little plastic clip because I was trying to stick them into these holes where they're actually supposed to go, but they use like a plastic clip retaining nut type thing underneath there. Here's two of them right here. And that's actually what the plastic rivet fits into. That's why the ones won't go back in, because they're missing the bottom portion. That side is good to go. Hop on over to the other side. And what we'll do is we're gonna get those pieces back in and it'll be good to wash. This piece here goes in first. Now, get our console back in here. All right, she's back together. You can see those are the holes where the snorkels came out of. They were the snorkels for the exhaust of the clutch. Still got these. This is intake for the engine, intake for the clutch. And well, we got rid of those. He's not riding it like that to need snorkels. He said he's just gonna use it for trail riding. So I'm gonna back this thing out of here and get this thing all washed up. Hopefully we can beat this rain. Hopefully, I'm gonna try at least. All right, so it is cleaned up and it is ready to go. I messaged my buddy about it. He is excited. I think it cleaned up all right. I keep reaching for the door handle over here. The razors are, maybe the razors are over there. But turned out pretty clean. It's all right. This is the first time I have done like a customer paid type job. Now don't get me wrong, it's a friend of mine, but this is the first time I've like gotten paid to fix somebody else's unit. I know what I charged for it, and I probably messed it all up because there was so much stuff in between. We were missing things. I did miss out on some stuff that I forgot to add in there. So like the clips right here, they weren't like, the ball joints, the OEM ball joints didn't come with them. And they weren't in here to begin with. There were no, I think one ball joint in the front end had a C-clip. One of the upper radius rod joints back here on the back didn't have one, and the other one had something ghetto rigged in there. So I had to buy a couple of those from OEM, and there was a whole lot of start and stop. I caught food poisoning. That was pretty bad. My stomach's still jacked up. I don't know what the deal with that is. And I know it's not contagious, otherwise my entire family would have it. I meant to try to keep track of the hours, how much time I spent on this. I think it was close to 10 hours. All the bearings, the front left caliper had to be replaced. Everything that had to be replaced basically. And I'm gonna guesstimate about 10 hours. I think I estimated at the start of it 8 hours. But the Super ATV rear knuckles for these are garbage. Don't buy them. I think they call them their up and running brand. They're machined wrong, so it is extremely difficult to press the bearings in. I was trying to press a frozen bearing into I think I put it to 350 degrees. The knuckle was at 350 with the press and having an issue. And it's not me, it's not me. I've done a bunch of these and I've never had a problem like that. They are cheap, just use used OEM. There was a whole bunch of stuff I kind of had to make work because whoever had this lost something. Back here, that right there, there's supposed to be spacers for these super ATV arms, and there isn't. So I had to make some to make it work, and you know, that is what it is. And then there was something else. I forget. Anyway, what would y'all have charged to do that labor-wise? We'll just say 8 to 10 hours. We're not talking about making a profit off the parts. You know, swapping a rack and pinion, all the parts that got installed in this unit. And what do y'all think this is worth? I mean, it's gonna need a rear diff, and it is gonna need the STM clutch rebuilt. Those two major. The rest of everything there's still a couple minor things, probably new rear rotors and stuff. What's this worth where you live? Like, I think it's probably a $6,500 unit here with the clutch and the rear diff fixed. You could probably sell it with the rear diff like that and no one ever notice, because I'm probably the only one that's gonna notice that. Thanks for watching. Be sure to stay tuned for next week. Let's see what we got coming. See if we can get some more cool units in here like this one.